Carly, thank you. Well, a new trend on TikTok is creating a potentially harmful and expensive skincare routine for some teenagers.
Yeah, joining us with why this is harmful for teens and some recommendations for what actually to use is KCU Assistant Professor of Primary Care, Dr. Nicole Freemerick. It's good to see you again.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming back on the show again.
Thank you for having me.
We report on a lot of these TikTok trends here in the 9 o'clock hour, and Kristen and I will often roll our eyes at a lot of some of these things that people are recommending. But what are some of the actual physical risks and effects that teens who follow these influencers on TikTok? What kind of things have you seen, and what's in general? What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, one thing I really did when TikTok and some of these social media trends happened is I started to get on the apps myself to start to learn what was being presented to these kids, because these questions do come up on a regular basis, so I'm glad you all cover them. So one thing with skincare particularly is they'll use a lot of products, and so it ends up repeating multiple ingredients over and over again. And especially at a younger age, they don't need all those products, and they can actually cause more harm than good.
Yeah, and it's very important. You were just talking about that, some of the younger kids using certain chemicals that they don't need. Also, I feel like, the skin is really good when you're younger, unless you have acne. Can you talk about some of those issues?
Yeah.
Like the retinol, you were saying they shouldn't be using that.
So when they're at a younger age, a basic routine can look as simple as moisturizer, cleansing, and most importantly, sunscreen. Yeah. A lot of those products that we talk about with the multiple chemicals in these TikTok trends, they're using anywhere from 6 to 20 products in one video demonstrating that, and that can be really harmful because those products repeat what chemicals are in those. So like I mentioned before, the retinoid, that's more of an adult needed skin product versus young age. You're right, they're healthy and that skin is better off. And then in addition, some of those chemicals cause sun sensitivity. And what do kids do? They go out in the sun and they like to be outside. And so we want to make sure that they're not putting their skin at more risk for other problems down the road.
Yeah.
When you talk to people and they're using these chemicals, how can you kind of like change their mind? How can you influence them the other way and just say, there's a better way about doing this. You don't have to follow these influencers here because of this. I mean, do you have to have you have to have like an honest conversation with them, I would imagine.
I think that's a great question. One thing I counsel them on is influencers are making money off of the products a lot of times that they demonstrate and off the views that they get. So we have to remember and take everything with a grain of salt that there's that chance that some of those products may be being used for alternative reasons. That doesn't mean that everyone has alternative motives, and that might be what works for them. So that's where I usually say this is the perfect opportunity for them to have that conversation with myself or one of their providers to talk a little bit further about what they need for their skin.
Yeah, and lastly, can we go over the recommendations again for what you think is correct for a young teenager to use on their skin? Like you mentioned, it's like, I see that on TikTok as well, where people are using 20 different products, and I'm like, my skincare routine is a 4-step routine.
And also affordability, right, is a huge piece. So I think the basics of a skincare routine in the morning for a teen or a young adult would be moisturizer or a good cleanser followed by a good moisturizer. And then in the evening, a good cleanser, moisturizer as well. But I think, again, the most important part is in the morning routine, making sure you're adding in that sunscreen. It does not have to break the bank. We don't need to be spending hundreds of dollars on skincare to have a good, healthy skin at those young adolescent ages.
I agree.
Yeah. Good to get some solid advice for once. Instead of getting it from TikTok, we get it from Dr. Freemerick. So, Doctor, great to see you again.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
Look forward to your next visit.